So, as some of you may or may not know, Milestone has retail clients. There's a brought over from the Oracle acquisition, and it's really a complementary vertical in that there's a lot of similar channels and similar strategies that go on for retailers that as do hotels have, and especially when you're talking about a physical location. And that is pretty much the crux of everything that we're doing from a digital perspective is how do we tap into the physical location and help the moneymaker make more money. Instead of just looking at it just at the digital channel, it's really all one. There shouldn't be this or that or me versus you kind of thing. It's everybody works together for the same goal. And it's a matter of how you go about helping the two synergize that will determine your success. So here are just a few examples of some of the clients that we currently work with, formerly have worked with, and we've done it in various capacities, whether it's consulting, actually managing a channel, or doing the whole gamut of every digital channel plus analytics. So basically what I want to talk about is taking your data, meaning your email list, your customer profiles, your actual physical database, and leveraging it across the web. Because it's a lot more valuable than anything else, right? That's like the first, if you have a bullseye, it's the middle. It's your sweet spot. And you guys probably segment it in various ways, whether that's, okay, these are people who are one-time buyers, two-time buyers. These guys are our loyalty, our best customers, if you will. These ones are new customers. These are new ones that come into the funnel, right? However you guys segment it, that's how we leverage it on the web. We use the same segmentation, same everything that you guys use so that everybody's speaking the same language. And it's a very powerful way of doing it because you're taking people who, for our purposes, the physical store purchasers, if they go to one location, I don't want to tell them about another location in Oklahoma if they're in Texas, right? I want to target the people in Texas around that physical location who are in my database and target them with ads that are complementary to what their activity was in the store, or whether their activity online mirrors that, and so on and so forth. So really, it's a very good way of targeting, and it's a very good way of understanding your true marketing costs. So what we do is we'll take all of the customers that we target on the web that came from the database, and we'll tie the cost related to whether it's a catalog or whether it's a flyer that was emailed to them, mailed to them. We'll take that cost and wrap it into our overall marketing cost to give a full picture of the true return on ad spend, if you will, of that customer and having them convert online or offline. It also helps to take your current efforts and just layer an element of targeting and precision off of what already exists, right? So it's not very difficult. Take a database, a data dump of all of the segments and the customers and their emails, pump it into the various channels, and there you go. So it uses your existing infrastructure, essentially. So the reason why we're doing this is because 90% of all e-commerce, not e-commerce, but retail transactions take part in store, right? So obviously everyone thinks that online space for retailers is big. It's very small. It's only 10%, but the influence that they have is astronomical. And it's about tying the two together that is been and still is one of the most difficult things for anybody to do because there's a lot of data and there's a lot of different ways you can connect the dots, but nobody's really tapped into it fully. Maybe Best Buy, maybe, probably not, but Home Depot probably is the one that's done the most to connect the dots with the stores. If you ever go, probably look on your phone right now and Google Home Depot, you'll see a search within the store, within Google, and you can go browse the products within that physical location in real time. And then you can say, oh, I want to see when it's open. It'll tell you when it's open. Or if you want to see how much inventory is there, you can see that as well. So all the merging of the online and offline worlds is happening all the time. And in Google's sake, they don't even want you to go to the website anymore. You don't even have to. Like if you go and if you do what I just said, go look at Home Depot on Google, you won't have to go to a website at all. But that engagement level is so necessary. You have to bring all of your data from your website to the web as a whole, and specifically the search engines to basically convert that customer. So several ways we're doing this. So first one is we're taking all of your stored data feed attributes. So that's your name, address, all the stuff that goes into Naptune and more. And we're basically taking all of it, scrubbing it, putting schema markup on it, distributing it out to Naptune, but then distributing it out to the search engines, right? So you can take one data feed that can distribute your content to 2 different places, actually even millions of places if you consider schema markup to basically encapsulate all of your mobile, all of your voice, all of your car navigation, everything. I mean, we're taking 5,000 locations and just distributing them out. So we're able to do that because we're taking your data and leveraging it on the web. So one of the things that we're also doing is we're developing personas on the web based on our clients' current personas, right? So if they have, this is our top customer, our middle customer, our bottom customer, we'll take those exact profile attributes and we'll go into Facebook and we'll basically create that exact person to find what they like, dislike, purchasing patterns, if they drive a minivan, if they have a family, don't have a family, are they millennials, are they, I don't know, Generation Y or X or Z, whatever, and we'll go find their online behavior attributes, right? So it's really important to create these because without them, you can't really target properly at a high level. So we're taking our actual first-party data, pumping into Facebook to get people who look like those exact customers, right? So it's a very powerful tool to use. And then obviously you want to know their dislikes, their likes, their behavior attributes. Are they someone who buys online, buys offline? Do they buy big box stores, small box stores, whatever it might be? And you can use this for hotels as well. I mean, it's probably super powerful to know people who sign up for our wedding to contact us or something like that. I want to find people just like them, more of them, because you probably make a ton of money off of it. I would assume very good margins. And you have that, and then you have to know what your conversion event is. Do you actually want them to buy something, or are you just looking to get them to sign up or go to a specific page or complete a specific action, right? That is very important, and without that, you can't really measure properly. So you have to determine that from the get-go. So some of the things that were talked about in the previous presentations touch on this. So what we do is we take our CRM data again, same data that we've been using, and we map those customers, exact customer emails, to their profiles on the web, right? So we cookie map them by using their email to cookie ID online, and roughly 30%, give or take, typically match. So if you have a large amount, you'll get still a very strong number, but if you only have 100, you're going to get a very small group of people, right? So you need to have a bit of scale and a large enough database to truly tap into it. But what we do is, so after the cookie mapping, we serve ads to people who we match, right? We match their physical records. And then we compare that to people who we have not matched the physical records, right? To compare and contrast the increase or decrease in performance of seeing a display ad, right? So that's what we were doing. Sorry, I didn't clarify that before. So we're saying people who get an ad, people who don't get an ad, what is the difference in their behavior and their purchasing patterns? And when you tie in the stores, that's even more impactful because all of the catalog related data comes into play here. Basically what we do is we take the people who have seen an ad, haven't seen an ad, but also who have gotten a catalog and who didn't get a catalog to truly understand the impact of these display ads in the grand scheme of things with the catalog distribution. So it's pretty powerful stuff. And basically the reason why we're doing all of this is because we want to target the people we know, don't target the people we don't want to include. So if you have people, your best customers, we want to exclude your worst customers from that targeting group, essentially. And the reason why this is so powerful is because you use one Excel or one TXT, or I always forget all the formats, and you distribute it across DoubleClick, Facebook, AdWords, Instagram, right? That's a lot of profile, a lot of different channels using one data source and the same data source, right? So you can hit people as they go through from a programmatic perspective on Facebook, but also through DoubleClick, and then AdWords has it as well, and Instagram. So all these channels have different objectives, typically. I don't expect anybody on Instagram to purchase, just not what they're there to do. They're there to absorb and just take in content, right? But if somebody's on Facebook or AdWords, I might think a little differently about what the conversion event might be there. But we've done this with 10 million customer records, very large amount of data, and segmented them and distributed them out and tracked them, obviously. So, but from your perspective, think about it from even the website visitors. How can you segment your website visitors? Do I just care about people who've been to my site? That really doesn't mean much of anything in my mind, right? They haven't done anything just by going to your site because they could have bounced, right? They could have left after one page. So is there a specific amount of time you want them to be on the site? Do you want them to get to the shopping cart, and if they abandon, is that when you want to hit them? So you have to think about targeting and segmenting like that. So this is for one of our clients, James Avery, jewelry company out of Texas. And we work with them to create ads based on their catalog. So this goes back to that display effort, right? So all of these images are based on the front cover of their catalog that they distributed out to 20 million people, right? So we hit them in display and in YouTube, but then on Facebook. And this was really interesting. I mean, you can see the story that we were telling with Mother's Day here and the one on the right. So the one on the left is a carousel ad where you can add many products and people can scroll through them versus a static one on the right. And the interesting thing here is on the left, I would expect that the actual ROI was decent, but in general, the engagement rate was much higher in the carousel ad. That's because you should expect anybody, if they're given options to scroll, that they're going to do it. And they might distract themselves but by sharing it or something like that, but you have to take that into account when measuring, right? So it's very important that if you're going to give them something like this, if you're going to tell the story of the products and just what it could be used for, you have to expect that they're going to share it and not necessarily convert through it right away, right? So the one on the right, you would expect somebody to convert because it's not much there. It's literally, here's a banner, we have a promotion, buy it. Great. So I measure these two differently. And if you see the engagement rate at 1.8 versus 2.5, so not drastically different, but there is difference. So essentially what I want to say, what I talked about is take your data, leverage it. It's very powerful. It's more powerful than any other piece of data that you have, and it can be utilized in a very efficient manner regardless of if you have 5,000 locations, 1 location, 100 locations, or no locations. So any questions or comments? Oh, yeah, you need a bike. Sorry.
We had a question, man.
Yeah, right here.
Hi, Ben. I'm totally agree with the first data because at the end is your matter and it's the most important thing when you're creating the brand awareness part or in the essential part of the funnel. For example, in my case, I do a strategy, but maybe I don't know if it's correct because I don't do a segmentation across the funnel. What I do is all the people that are buying me or are arriving, I cross that data and I send to my DMP, which is MediaMath, and I send to the DMP, to the DSP. Is that correct, for example?
Wait, so you're saying you take people who are nearby? Did I hear you incorrectly?
All the people that arrive to my website.
Oh, all the people that arrive to your website
I
without
use that first
segmenting.
data. without, because at the end, the percentage of the people that maybe buy your website with this data is not enough
Yeah, I
to
mean,
the clusters.
I personally, I would segment them before providing that information. I don't know how it's coordinated, but I definitely would segment out people who have purchased from people who haven't purchased at the bare minimum, or people who have purchased or haven't purchased in a certain time period, right? So if somebody's been to the website yesterday, and didn't buy, they're probably a lot more valuable and in the moment, ready to buy versus somebody who was there 30 days ago, right? And same with somebody who's converted, right? I mean, if somebody's converted in the last 60 days, I don't know what the time period is for your particular business as relates to how frequently they buy, but
4 months.
how many?
4 months.
Right, so you might want to take people 5 months, right, and segment them out, right? Or maybe group them together 5 to 9 or 10 to 12, so on and so forth. But that's just off the top. I don't know.
It's
Hope
very
that
good to know
helps.
that maybe I have to do it a very special segmentation for the funnel.
And you get better measurement. You understand the value of your customers a lot more versus just grouping them all together. The important people get lost.
Thank you, Ben.
Anybody
Any other
else?
questions? And Ben will also be around during the break the rest of the time here if any additional questions come up.
I love answering questions, so come up to me. We can talk digital stuff, non-digital stuff, business stuff, non-work stuff, whatever.
All right,
Awesome,
thank you, Ben.
thank you.